Hello guys, I welcome you back to my channel. This is Epi Nyami and this is my YouTube channel. Today we want to have a conversation with ourselves. We want to ask ourselves some questions. Most often in marriages and relationships, we sit down and then I used to do that very often, especially during our anniversary or when the year ends and we are starting a new year. I'll have a chat with my husband and ask him the course of the year, what did I do? Was there anything I should have done? That gives me the opportunity to also tell him things that I wanted to tell him. But today, we want to have a conversation with ourselves. We want to ask ourselves rhetoric questions. We are not going to ask our spouses. We are not going to ask our partners. We are asking ourselves. Let's sit down, have an honest conversation with ourselves. Ask ourselves these questions that I've written here, and let's see where our marriage is if we are putting in the effort we are supposed to put as wives and as husbands. This is what we are going to discuss today. Stick with me. I'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. Let's get right into it. So I have some 12 sincere questions here that I want us to ask ourselves. Ask yourself, okay? The first question I have here is that will your children wish their marriage is like yours? You see, these children that we are bringing up, however that your kids' marriage is going to be, they are going to learn about 80% from you. If they are going to treat their wives well, they will learn it from you. If they are going to submit to their husbands, they will learn it from you. What are you showing your children in your marriage? Are your children going to be able to say, because of my mother's marriage, I wish to be married? Because of how my father is treating my mother, oh God, I wish to be married. I wish in future my husband would treat me like that. Or your children are going to say, because of how my parents are married, I am even scared to get married. I don't even want to think of getting married. Which of these are your children going to say? Two kids were playing. One said, I am the daddy. The other said, I am the mommy. And before they realized, the one who said, I'm the daddy slapped the one who said, I'm the mommy, because in the house, daddy has been slapping mommy. What are you showing your kids? What kind of marriage are you portraying to your kids? Are your children going to wish their marriage is like yours? The second question I have here is that is your marriage preaching to the people around you? You live in a community, you live in a society. There are young ladies, young guys who are watching you. You are always complaining about your marriage. You do know that when you sit down and talk to people about how bad your husband is treating you, how bad your marriage is, you go and they are like, oh, there is going to be a moment that they are going to, oh, babe, we are tired. You always have problems in your marriage. There is this young lady staying in your area, in your compound, in your community, who is saying, because of these people, I don't even want to get married. If this is how marriage is, then I don't want to get married. Or they are going to say, what are the people around saying about your marriage? Is your marriage preaching to the people around? The third question I have here is that will your spouse be willing to marry you again if given the opportunity to remarry? If you have to start afresh. I am not saying will you marry your spouse. I am saying will your spouse be willing to marry you again if you have to start afresh? If you say, okay, all marriages should come to a halt, we are starting afresh. Do you think your spouse will say, on any day, any time, I will choose my wife, I will choose my husband over everybody? Or your spouse is going to say, because of this man, because of this woman, if I am to die and come back, if there is resurrection, I will never marry again. If you think that your spouse is going to choose you, that tells you that you're a good partner. If not, ask yourself, why is he or she not going to choose you? The next question I have here is that is God who instituted marriage happy and glorified about your marriage? God gave us the institution of marriage. God sees in our hearts. He sees in the secret. People look at what they are seeing. God sees in the secret. Is your marriage glorified in his eyes? Is he pleased? You look at your marriage and say, yes, I am proud of my children. Or he will say, why did I even institute this institution? Why did I even come up with this institution in the first place? Is God glorified? Is he pleased with your marriage? The fifth question is that is your marriage a blessing to your spouse or a source of bitterness? Is your marriage a blessing? Since you married your spouse, has he or she become a better person? Or can your spouse sit down and then we'll be smiling, we'll be remembering things that you guys have done, conversations you've had, surprises you've given him or her, how you've loved him, her, how you submitted to him, and then start smiling? Or your partner can sit down and do this and will just be crying, tears will just be coming out of the eyes. Has your marriage been a blessing to your partner or a source of bitterness? The next question is that since you married your spouse, is his or her life better than you married him or her? Or it's worse? People will look at your wife and will go like, oh God, you are looking beautiful. Ah, warrior fatal, why? Or people will look at her and will go like, what is happening? Are you okay? She's not okay, but she can't say it. He's not okay, but he can't say it. Is your partner's life better? The next question I have here: when last did you deliberately appreciate your spouse for the things he or she does in the marriage? When last did you do that? Babes, sweetheart, honey, I just want to appreciate you. I just want to thank you for being a great husband, for being a good wife, for being there for the kids. When last did you deliberately? It is not your birthday, it is not our anniversary, it is not Valentine's Day, but I decided to get you this as a source of appreciation. When last did you deliberately do that? The next question I have here is: are you always seeing your spouse as the problem of the marriage and you as a saint? There are people who are married to their spouse every day. And now you did this, and now you did that, and now you did. They are never at fault. They never see themselves being at fault. No, it is always their spouse who is at fault. It is always their spouse. Do you see yourself as sin? Are you not a human being? Don't you do things that you are not supposed to do? Have you? They don't even want to accept their fault. They don't, not to talk of apologizing. This is the next question. How much sacrifice have you put in this marriage in order to make it work? I've told you that to have a successful marriage doesn't come automatically. You need to put in work. How much have you sacrificed? You see, things that you have to do to make your marriage work, it always doesn't feel like doing it. It doesn't come with your instincts. You have to be intentional about it. You have to be deliberate about it. Sometimes you are not comfortable doing it, but you decide to do it because you want the marriage to work. How much sacrifice have you put in? The next question is that if you die today, do you think your spouse will really miss you or your death will be a relief? Some of you are torn in the flesh of your partners. There were a lot of wives who are praying that their husbands will die. This is very emotional, but I mean it. They don't want to get a divorce. They don't want the society to think that they are this or that, and so they always pray. And so when you are sick and you visit the hospital, they are like, God, let this man not come back. When you die today, how is it going to be? And then, are you always thinking and threatening your spouse with divorce and separation? If you do, I will leave you. If you do, I will go. If you do, one day you will say, and he or she will say, okay, you can go. I am tired. The last question is that, are you seeing and thinking about someone else you think you should have been married to her or him? This person is better. If I had married her, I would have been fine. If I have married him, I would have been great. You are not staying with a person, and so you think the man or the woman you are married to is bad, is worse. Is that what you are thinking? Is that what you are thinking? If you stay with him or her, that is when you know that baby enjoy it and baby aniha. These are questions I want you to ask yourself. Sit down, have a meeting with yourself, ask yourself these questions. The answers you will get will tell you whether you are a good spouse or you are not a good spouse. Today, we want to work on ourselves. Let's start with the person in the mirror. Thank you so much for watching this video today, and I really hope that this video will help you in your way. Kindly subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that, and I'll definitely see you in the next video. Nyamenka.